In a bustling city, where dreams seemed just out of reach, Emily Thompson's life was a constant balancing act of hope and hardship. At just 25 years old, she juggled multiple responsibilities while working at the luxurious Golden Dream restaurant. Despite the demanding job and long hours, her ultimate goal was to save enough money to return to college and finish her degree in business administration. One fateful day, Emily served William Grant, a wealthy businessman known for his powerful presence and impeccable taste. Little did she know, his visit was more than just a meal. It was a test of her honesty. When William left his wallet behind, Emily's choice to return it showcased her integrity. Impressed by her actions, William offered her an opportunity she had only dreamed of: a high-level position at his company. As Emily transitioned from waiting tables to navigating the corporate world, she faced new challenges and opportunities. However, her new role revealed unsettling truths about Grant Enterprises, leading Emily to question the ethical boundaries of the business. The excitement of a new career quickly collided with the harsh reality of potential corruption, putting her integrity to the ultimate test. In this roller coaster of emotions, Emily's journey from humble beginnings to the brink of moral conflict captures the essence of aspiration, sacrifice, and the pursuit of truth. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Before we dive into this story, please let me know in the comments where you're watching from. The millionaire's departure of his wallet on the table was more than a simple test. It was a provocation, a challenge to the waitress's integrity that would unravel into a breathtaking revelation. As the seductive aroma of freshly brewed coffee and golden toasted bread wafted through Emily Thompson's modest kitchen, the tension in her life was palpable. At just 25, Emily bore the crushing weight of relentless responsibilities that seemed to press down on her fragile shoulders. With a weary sigh, she adjusted her black apron over her crisp white shirt, her eyes darting to the clock that mocked her with its early hour, 5:30 a.m. She grabbed her well-worn purse with a mixture of resolve and resignation and closed the door behind her, each creak of the hinge echoing her exhaustion. The sun was a mere whisper of light, timidly pushing through the city's towering structures, as Emily arrived at the Golden Dream, a haven of opulence that stood in stark contrast to her daily struggles. Walking through those gleaming glass doors, Emily felt like a trespasser in a world of luxury, every step a reminder of the vast chasm between her reality and the gilded world within. "Good morning, Emily." Mark, the head chef, greeted her with an air of practiced professionalism that barely masked his concern. His voice, though friendly, carried a weight of foreboding as he waved a wooden spoon like a scepter, signaling the day's trials. "Good morning, Mark," Emily replied, her smile strained but genuine. "What's on the agenda today?" Mark's eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and anxiety. "Brace yourself. We're fully booked, and the owner's thrown in a curveball with new dishes. It's going to be a grueling day." Emily nodded, her movements quick and precise as she stowed her belongings in her locker. Her reflection in the mirror revealed a young woman who had long since outgrown the carefree joys of youth. A rebellious strand of brown hair fell across her face, which she tucked behind her ear with a practiced hand. Her green eyes, vivid reminders of a mother she barely recalled, spoke of a fierce determination tempered by bone-deep fatigue. The day spiraled into a frenzy of orders and demanding patrons. Emily danced through the chaos with grace and a forced cheerfulness that barely masked the agony in her feet. Each tip was a small victory, a step closer to her dream of returning to college to complete her business administration degree. Around 2 p.m., the restaurant's door swung open, and in walked William Grant, the embodiment of wealth and influence, his presence commanding attention. Tall and impeccably dressed, his suit likely worth more than Emily's yearly earnings, he exuded an aura of authority that made the air itself tremble. "Table for one, please." His deep, resonant voice cut through the din as he addressed the hostess, who promptly escorted him to a prime table in the VIP area. Emily's heart thundered as Sarah, the manager, approached her with an urgent intensity. "Emily, you're assigned to Mr. Grant," Sarah said in a tense whisper, her eyes wide with anxiety. "He's one of our most crucial clients." One misstep could spell disaster for us. Understood, Emily replied, her throat tight with anxiety as she fought to keep her voice steady. I'll do my best. With a determined stride, she approached William Grant's table, her pulse quickening under the weight of his intense gaze. His piercing blue eyes examined her with an unsettling scrutiny that made her feel exposed. Good afternoon, Mr. Grant. Welcome to the Golden Dream. I'm Emily, and I'll be your server today. May I present our wine list? She asked, trying to mask her unease. William nodded curtly, taking the list with an air of detached authority. As he perused the options, Emily's eyes couldn't help but be drawn to the opulent details that adorned him. The gleaming gold watch on his wrist, the glinting diamond ring that sparkled with each movement, and the sophisticated designer pen peeking out of his jacket pocket. I'll have a Chateau Margaux 1995, William declared, his voice clipped as he handed the list back. Emily's heart skipped a beat at the price of that wine, a sum that eclipsed her monthly earnings. Excellent choice, sir. Would you like to review the menu now or wait a bit longer? She asked, striving to maintain her composure. I'll wait, he replied flatly. Emily retreated, feeling the weight of his gaze like a tangible pressure on her back as she headed to the wine cellar. She wondered what it would be like to live so unfettered by financial constraints, ordering wines that cost a fortune as casually as one might order a soda. William Grant's lunch extended over nearly 2 hours. Emily attended to him with meticulous care, ensuring his glass remained perpetually full and anticipating his every need. Despite his aloof demeanor, he seemed content with the service. When he finally requested the check, Emily delivered it with trembling hands. William retrieved a sleek black credit card from his wallet, placing it on the tray without a glance at the total. Thank you for your excellent service, Emily, he said, using her name for the first time, his voice carrying a surprising warmth. It's been a pleasure serving you, Mr. Grant, she responded, forcing a professional smile despite the storm of emotions swirling within her. William stood, adjusting his jacket with practiced ease. In a gesture that seemed almost careless, he slid his wallet onto the table as if it were an afterthought. Then, without another word, he made his way to the exit. Emily stared at the wallet, her mind racing. Should she call out to him or chase after him? Opting for practicality, she decided to act swiftly. Clutching the wallet, she hurried to Sarah's office. Sarah, Mr. Grant left his wallet on the table, she said, handing over the exquisite leather item. Sarah's eyes widened in shock and admiration. Oh my God! Well done, Emily. I'll contact him to return it. For now, store it in the safe, Sarah instructed. Emily nodded, her relief palpable. Still, a part of her wrestled with the temptation of what could have been, how that money might have transformed her life. She shook off the thought, reminding herself that her integrity far outweighed any material gain. The rest of the day slipped by, but William Grant's visit lingered in Emily's thoughts. His enigmatic gaze and the mystery of his behavior captivated her. That evening, as she and her colleagues wrapped up the night's work, Sarah approached with a cryptic smile. Emily, I have some news, Sarah said. Mr. Grant called personally to thank you for returning his wallet, and he made a special request. He wants you to be here tomorrow at lunchtime. He said he wants to talk to you. Emily's heart raced with both excitement and apprehension. To me? But why? She asked, her voice a whisper of disbelief. Sarah shrugged nonchalantly. I don't know, but when William Grant requests something, we comply. Be sure to be here on time tomorrow. Emily nodded, her mind a whirlwind of anticipation and unease. What could one of the city's most influential figures possibly want from her? That night, in her modest apartment, sleep eluded Emily. Her thoughts swirled with endless possibilities for the next day's meeting. What if he offered her a better job or even a scholarship to finish her studies? She caught herself smiling at the thought and then chuckled. Don't be silly, Emily, she murmured to herself. He probably just wants to thank you in person. The next morning, Emily awoke before her alarm, her nerves already on edge. She dressed with meticulous care, selecting her finest white shirt and ensuring every strand of her hair was perfectly in place. As she gazed into the mirror, she reminded herself to stay professional and not let the intimidating circumstances overwhelm her. The restaurant was bustling with the lunch crowd when William Grant arrived, this time accompanied by a stern-looking man clutching a briefcase. Sarah practically leaped to greet them and ushered them to the same table where Emily had served them the day before. With her heart pounding, Emily approached the table. "Good afternoon, Mr. Grant. Welcome back to the Golden Dream," she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. William greeted her with a faint, enigmatic smile. "Emily, just the person I wanted to see. Please, join us for a moment." Taken aback, Emily glanced at Sarah, who gave her a reassuring nod. Hesitantly, she took the seat William indicated. "Emily, allow me to introduce my lawyer, Mr. Andrew Vager," William said, gesturing to the man with the briefcase. "We're here to discuss a matter that concerns you." Emily's throat went dry. A lawyer? Had she somehow broken a rule? Sensing her anxiety, William's smile softened. "Don't worry, it's not bad at all. I'm here to make you a proposal." William paused, his gaze intense as he chose his words with care. "Yesterday, when I left my wallet on the table, it wasn't an accident. It was a test." Emily blinked, trying to grasp his words. "A test?" William nodded, his expression earnest. "You see, Emily, in my position, finding truly trustworthy people is rare. When I saw how you handled the situation, I realized you're someone exceptional." Mr. Vager opened his briefcase and laid out some documents before Emily. "I want to offer you a position at one of my companies," William continued, "an executive assistant role at Grant Enterprises. The salary is significantly higher than what you make here, with full benefits and ample room for growth within the company." Emily's breath caught in her throat. Was this a dream? The figures on the documents before her were astronomical compared to what she had ever hoped to earn. "But why me?" she managed to ask, her voice trembling with awe and confusion. William leaned forward, his blue eyes locked onto hers with unwavering sincerity. "Because in a world where most would have taken that wallet without a second thought, you chose to do the right thing. Integrity like yours is more valuable to me than any degree or work experience." Tears welled in Emily's eyes as she absorbed the magnitude of this unexpected opportunity. It felt like a miracle, her dreams falling into her lap. "You don't have to decide immediately," William said gently, noticing her emotional response. "Take a few days to consider the offer. Mr. Vager will leave you his card so you can reach out when you've made your decision." Emily nodded, overwhelmed and speechless. As William and his lawyer prepared to leave, he gave her one last encouraging look. "I look forward to your call, Emily," he said warmly. "I believe you could be a valuable addition to my team." As William and his lawyer departed, Emily remained seated, her mind awash with disbelief and exhilaration. Sarah, sensing the gravity of the moment, approached with a mix of curiosity and concern. "What was all that about?" she asked, her eyes wide with intrigue. Emily looked up, a dazed smile spreading across her face. "I think I just received the opportunity of a lifetime." The ensuing days were a whirlwind of emotional highs and lows for Emily. She was electrified by the prospect of a bright, new future, but also gripped by the fear of venturing into the unknown and leaving behind the comforting familiarity of her current life. Desperate for guidance, she turned to her best friend, Lucy, who offered unwavering support. "This is the chance of a lifetime, Emily. You can't let it slip away." After countless sleepless nights and introspective debates with herself, Emily finally made a decision. Her hands trembled as she dialed the number on the card left by William's lawyer. "Mr. Vager," she said, her voice a blend of nerves and resolve. "This is Emily Thompson. I've made my decision. I accept Mr. Grant's offer." In just a few days, Emily's world was upended. She bade farewell to her colleagues at the Golden Dream, promising to keep in touch. Sarah, though saddened to lose a valued waitress, embraced her warmly. "Go and conquer the corporate world, Emily," she encouraged. You'll always have a place here if things don't work out. Her first day at Grant Enterprises was nothing short of overwhelming. The imposing glass and steel structure, soaring high above the city's financial district, made her feel minuscule. Dressed in her newly purchased suit, Emily navigated the opulent lobby, her anxiety palpable. An elegant receptionist greeted her with a polished smile. "Miss Thompson, welcome to Grant Enterprises. Mr. Grant is expecting you. Please, follow me." As they ascended in the elevator to the top floor, Emily tried to steady her racing heart. The elevator doors opened to a hallway adorned with sleek modern art and lush, exotic plants. At the end of the corridor, two grand dark wood doors marked the entrance to William Grant's office. The receptionist knocked softly and, upon receiving a "come in" from within, opened the doors. "Mr. Grant, Miss Thompson has arrived," she announced. William Grant, standing by a vast window with a sweeping view of the city, turned to greet her. His smile was warm and genuine. "Emily, welcome," he said, extending a firm handshake. "I'm delighted you accepted my offer." Emily grasped his hand, feeling the strength in his grip. "Thank you for this incredible opportunity, Mr. Grant. I'm eager to start and learn everything I can." William's face lit up with satisfaction. "I'm pleased to hear that," he said, leading her to a seating area furnished with plush leather sofas. "Please have a seat. We have much to discuss about your new role here." Emily sat down, doing her best to project confidence despite the storm of nerves roiling within her. William settled into the chair across from her with an air of effortless sophistication. "As my executive assistant," he began, his voice steady and authoritative, "you will be entrusted with sensitive information and play a crucial role in many pivotal decisions. I need to be certain that I can rely on you completely." "Mr. Grant," Emily responded, her voice resolute, "discretion and loyalty are my top priorities." William's lips curved into a satisfied smile. "Excellent. Now, I'm aware this is a significant transition for you. You'll be moving from the world of waiting tables to handling multimillion-dollar contracts and collaborating with high-level executives. Do you believe you're ready for this challenge?" A knot tightened in Emily's stomach, but she forced herself to remain poised. "I understand that there's a lot to learn, Mr. Grant, but I'm committed to working hard and adapting swiftly. I won't let you down." William's nod was approving. "That's the mindset I was hoping for. You'll begin with an intensive training period, working closely with me and some of our senior executives to familiarize yourself with our operations." The following hours were a whirlwind of activity. William gave her a comprehensive tour of the offices, introducing her to a myriad of faces whose names she struggled to recall. Each person greeted her with a polite smile and a speculative glance, undoubtedly intrigued by how this unassuming young woman had secured such a prominent role. As the day drew to a close, Emily found herself back in William's office, her head spinning with the deluge of information. "How are you feeling?" William inquired, his gaze probing. Emily took a deep breath, her voice reflecting a blend of anxiety and excitement. "Honestly, Mr. Grant, I feel both overwhelmed and exhilarated. I'm deeply grateful for this chance and am committed to giving it my all." William's smile softened, his approval evident. "That's all I ask, Emily. I see potential in you. Now, it's up to you to realize it." When Emily finally left the Grant Enterprises building that evening, she felt as though she had lived an entire lifetime in a single day. The contrast between her previous life and this new reality was both exhilarating and disorienting. In the weeks that followed, Emily immersed herself in her role with unrelenting dedication. She spent long hours in the office, absorbing the complexities of the corporate world and becoming acquainted with the operations at Grant Enterprises. William proved to be a demanding yet fair boss, constantly challenging her to exceed her limits. However, as she delved deeper into the high-stakes world of business, Emily began to notice unsettling patterns. Whispers that ceased abruptly when she entered a room, documents that mysteriously vanished from desks, and clandestine meetings late into the night. One afternoon, while organizing files in William's office, Emily's eyes were drawn to an open document on his computer. What she saw made her blood run cold. suspicious financial figures, transfers to offshore accounts, and unfamiliar company names. Emily? William's voice cut through her shock, startling her. He stood in the doorway, his expression inscrutable. Did you find what you were looking for? Emily's heart pounded in her chest. Had he noticed her peering at the screen? She struggled to steady her breath, her mind racing with the implications of her discovery. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. William's gaze was unwavering, his demeanor calm but intense. Emily struggled to reconcile the man who had offered her an incredible opportunity with the reality of the secrets she had just uncovered. I don't know what to say, she stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. William's expression softened slightly, though his eyes remained sharp. Emily, I understand this is a lot to take in. This is not the path everyone chooses, and it certainly isn't the easiest one. But it's the path I've walked, and it's made me who I am. He stepped back, giving her space. I didn't expect you to come here to make a decision tonight. Take your time to think about what you've learned. If you choose to stay, you'll need to be prepared for the complexities and ethical ambiguities that come with this role. If you choose to leave, I'll understand. I won't hold it against you. Emily's mind raced. The weight of her decision felt almost unbearable. She had been given a chance to step into a new world, but that world was not what she had imagined. The moral conflict was tearing at her, questioning her values and her place in this new reality. Mr. Grant, she said after a long pause, if I choose to stay, what does that mean for me? Will I be involved in these activities? William's gaze was thoughtful. You will be involved in managing and overseeing various aspects of the business. Some of those aspects will involve decisions that walk a fine line. But remember, I chose you because I believe in your judgment and your ability to navigate complex situations. Emily's hands were trembling as she clutched the armrests of her chair. And if I decide to leave? William's tone was gentle but firm. If you decide to leave, you'll walk away with nothing more than your integrity intact. But you'll also walk away from the chance to make a significant impact on a larger scale. The silence between them was heavy, filled with the gravity of her impending decision. Emily looked around the office, her eyes falling on the impressive cityscape outside the window. This was her chance to change her life, but it came at a cost she hadn't anticipated. Take the night to think it over, William advised. Tomorrow we'll discuss your decision. Either way, I respect your choice. With a final nod, Emily stood up, her legs feeling weak. She walked to the door, her mind swirling with uncertainty. As she left the office, she knew that whatever choice she made would define not only her career but also her sense of self. That night, Emily lay in bed, her thoughts a turbulent mix of fear, hope, and moral questioning. The future that had once seemed so clear now lay shrouded in ambiguity. She had to decide if she could align her values with the reality of the world she was stepping into or if she would walk away, holding fast to her principles. William took a sip from his glass, his gaze steady and inscrutable. This, he said, gesturing to the elegant setting and the high-profile guests mingling around them, is a glimpse into a different side of the world you're stepping into. It's where decisions are made and alliances are formed. Emily looked around, taking in the opulence of the surroundings and the influential figures present. The atmosphere was both luxurious and intimidating, a far cry from the world she had known. Are you trying to show me the power dynamics at play here? Emily asked, trying to keep her voice steady. William nodded. Exactly. In this environment, understanding the nuances of power is as important as any business strategy. You're not just working for a company. You're becoming part of a larger network where connections and perceptions can be as significant as the bottom line. Emily took a deep breath, struggling to reconcile the glitzy facade with the troubling revelations she had encountered. And what does this have to do with me? William's expression grew serious. You've seen things that most newcomers never get to see. This is your chance to understand more about the complexities of the business world and the roles people play within it. I wanted you to see this because I believe you have potential beyond what meets the eye. You're not just an assistant. You're someone who could influence decisions and shape outcomes. He paused, letting his words sink in. The question you need to ask yourself is whether you're willing to embrace this world in all its complexity, or if you're more comfortable remaining on the outside, observing from a distance. Emily felt a mix of awe and dread. The grandeur of the event contrasted sharply with her internal turmoil. She took a tentative sip of her champagne, trying to calm her nerves. "What if I decide I can't be a part of this?" she asked. William's eyes softened slightly. "If you choose to step back, you'll do so with your integrity intact, and you'll be free to pursue a different path. But if you decide to stay, you'll need to accept the compromises that come with it and navigate the moral complexities with eyes wide open." Emily's thoughts were a whirlwind. She had never imagined that her career would lead her into such a tangled web of ethical and practical challenges. The world of high-stakes business and power was both alluring and daunting. As she mingled among the guests, her mind raced with possibilities. She was at a crossroads, facing a decision that would not only define her career, but also challenge her values. William approached her again, his demeanor friendly but firm. "Take your time to think, Emily. I'm here if you have any questions or need guidance." With a final nod, Emily wandered through the mansion, observing the interactions and dynamics around her. She was determined to make an informed decision, one that aligned with her values and aspirations. The coming days would be crucial as she weighed her options and considered her place in this complex world. Emily's internal conflict intensified as the days went by. The grandeur of the party and the allure of power weighed heavily on her. The contrast between her previous life and the current one seemed starker each day, amplifying her indecision. Her workdays were filled with a mix of routine tasks and high-stakes projects. She continued to perform her duties with professionalism, but her mind was constantly occupied with the choices before her. The clandestine nature of her recent revelations made it difficult to share her concerns with anyone. Lucy, her closest friend, remained unaware of the full extent of Emily's new role and the moral dilemmas it entailed. One afternoon, while sorting through some files, Emily was approached by one of the senior executives, Miranda Hale. Miranda had always been cordial but distant, focusing on her responsibilities. "Emily," Miranda began, her tone casual yet probing, "I've noticed you've been under a lot of pressure lately. How are you settling in?" Emily forced a smile, feeling a pang of guilt for the deception. "It's been challenging, but I'm managing." Miranda's gaze sharpened. "Grant Enterprises can be a lot to handle. The real test isn't just in how well you perform your tasks, but how you navigate the complexities of this world. If you ever need advice or someone to talk to, don't hesitate to ask." Emily was taken aback by the offer. Miranda's words felt like an unexpected lifeline, but she was unsure how much she could reveal. "Thank you, Miranda. I'll keep that in mind." Later that evening, as Emily sat in her apartment, she reviewed her options once again. She had been allowed to join a world of influence and power, but at a potential moral cost. The decision seemed more daunting with each passing day. The following morning, Emily received another encrypted message, this time requesting a meeting with William at an off-site location. The message was brief but urgent. She felt a knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach as she prepared for the meeting. Arriving at the designated location, a private conference room in a sleek, modern building, Emily found William waiting for her, his demeanor calm and expectant. "Emily," he greeted her warmly, "I wanted to discuss your thoughts on the matter further." She nodded, taking a seat across from him. "I've been thinking a lot about the choices before me, Mr. Grant. The world you've introduced me to is both fascinating and frightening. I'm struggling with the implications of being involved in something that might not align with my values." William leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "I understand your concerns. This isn't an easy decision. But remember, Emily, every choice has consequences, and sometimes the greater good requires difficult decisions." He paused, studying her intently. "If you choose to join us, you'll have the opportunity to influence many things for the better. However, if you decide it's not for you, you'll be leaving behind an extraordinary chance for personal growth and impact." Emily's heart raced as she absorbed his words. The path before her seemed laden with risks and rewards, each with its own set of consequences. "I need to make a decision soon," she said, her voice steady but tinged with uncertainty. "But I want to be sure that whatever path I choose is the right one for me." William nodded, a hint of approval in his eyes. "Take your time, but remember that opportunities like this are rare. The decision is ultimately yours to make." As Emily left the meeting, her mind was a storm of conflicting thoughts. The luxury and power of Grant Enterprises were alluring, but the ethical questions and personal values remained at the forefront of her mind. Back at her apartment, Emily knew that whatever decision she made would shape her future in ways she could not yet fully predict. The gravity of her choice weighed heavily on her, and she understood that no matter the outcome, her life would be irrevocably altered. Emily struggled to reconcile William's words with the stark reality of the documents in her hands. The idea of a greater good seemed increasingly dubious as she absorbed the scale of corruption and manipulation laid out before her. "Mr. Grant, I understand that business can be complex and morally ambiguous, but what you're describing is systemic corruption," Emily said, her voice trembling. "It's not just a few questionable decisions. It's a deliberate scheme to manipulate and exploit." William's expression remained inscrutable, though his eyes held a flicker of something, perhaps regret or resignation. "Yes, Emily, it is corruption, but the world we live in is built on power and influence. Without it, progress would be slow and uneven. Sometimes, it's about choosing between operating within the system or being crushed by it." Emily's heart raced as she processed his words. But what about the people who are harmed by these actions? The officials who are bribed, the public trust that's eroded? William leaned back, his gaze steady. "We live in a world where power often comes with a price. If you're uncomfortable with this, I understand. But remember, there are many forces at play, and sometimes making a positive impact requires navigating through these murky waters." Emily felt a deep pang of conflict. Her principles were at odds with the reality she was confronted with. The idealistic part of her wanted to reject everything she had seen and expose the corruption, but the pragmatic part recognized the risks and complexities involved. "I need to think about this," Emily said finally, her voice steady but her hands shaking slightly. "This is a lot to take in." William nodded. "Take the time you need, but understand this. In our world, choices have consequences. Sometimes you have to decide which side you want to be on." If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 3 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. As she left the archive, Emily felt like she was walking through a fog. The weight of the decision before her was overwhelming. She knew she had to decide whether to stay in this world of power and corruption, attempt to make a difference from within, or find a way to distance herself and seek justice. Back in her apartment, Emily reviewed her options, knowing that whatever choice she made would have profound implications not just for her career, but for her conscience and future. She could continue to work within the corrupt system, possibly making a difference despite the methods, or she could blow the whistle, risking her safety and career to expose the wrongdoing. As she considered her options, she realized that the decision was not just about her career but about who she wanted to be and what she stood for. It was a moment of reckoning, a crossroads where integrity, ambition, and the harsh realities of the world collided. Emily knew that whatever path she chose would define not only her future, but also her understanding of the world and her place in it. Emily entered William's office with a mix of resolve and anxiety. The room, filled with polished wood and expensive decor, seemed to mock her turmoil. She approached the desk, her eyes scanning for any clues that might clarify the full scope of the company's operations. She hesitated for a moment before opening William's desk drawer. Inside, she found a neatly organized array of documents. As she sifted through them, she noticed several folders marked with various project names, each stamped with different levels of confidentiality. Her fingers trembled as she opened a folder labeled Project Apex. The documents inside were even more shocking than what she had seen before. They detailed covert operations in multiple countries, involving illegal arms trade and large-scale money laundering. There were also detailed plans for future expansions and new schemes that pushed the boundaries of legality even further. The sheer scale of corruption was staggering. As Emily pored over the documents, she heard a sound behind her. Her heart skipped a beat. She spun around to see William standing in the doorway, his expression a mix of anger and resignation. "Emily," he said quietly, his voice cold. "I see you've been quite thorough." Emily's mind raced. She had been caught red-handed, and there was no turning back now. "I had to know the full truth," she said, her voice steady despite her fear. William stepped into the room, closing the door behind him. "I warned you that once you knew, there would be no going back," he said, his tone icy. "Now, we need to discuss what happens next." Emily took a deep breath. "I can't be a part of this," she said firmly. "I need to expose everything." William's eyes narrowed. "You understand the risks, don't you? Exposing this could not only endanger you, but could also have far-reaching consequences." "I understand," Emily replied, "but I can't live with myself knowing that I've been complicit in something so wrong." William's gaze was intense, almost as if he were weighing her resolve. "Very well," he said finally. "If you're determined to go down this path, I can't stop you. But know that you'll be facing a very powerful enemy. And, Emily, you'll have to live with the consequences of your choice." As William left the office, Emily felt a strange mix of fear and relief. She knew she had made a difficult decision, but one she believed was right. Her next steps would involve gathering evidence, contacting authorities, and braving the storm that was sure to follow. Determined to follow through, Emily spent the next few nights compiling all the evidence she had found. She contacted a trusted journalist she had known from her time in the restaurant industry and arranged a meeting. It was a risk, but she was prepared to face whatever came her way. The following week, she met with the journalist in a secluded cafe, handing over the documents and explaining the situation. The journalist, shocked but professional, agreed to investigate further and promised to help expose the corruption at Grant Enterprises. Emily felt a sense of weight lifting off her shoulders as she left the cafe. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but she was ready to face it. She had chosen to stand up for her principles, even if it meant facing powerful adversaries and risking everything she had built. As she returned to her apartment, she looked around at the familiar surroundings with a new sense of resolve. Her life was about to change dramatically, but she felt a quiet confidence that she had done the right thing. Whatever came next, she knew she had stayed true to herself. William's face reflected a deep, genuine sorrow. "Emily, I know it's hard to understand. When I found you, I saw an opportunity to reconnect, to offer you something more than the life your mother and I had planned for you. But I didn't realize how far I had fallen until it was too late." Emily's heart pounded in her chest, her mind racing. "You can't just rewrite your mistakes by involving me in all of this," she said, her voice trembling with a mix of betrayal and anguish. "You're asking me to join a world of deceit and power games, all while you try to make up for not being there in my life." William took a deep breath, his face pale. "I understand that this is overwhelming. I should have told you sooner. I wanted to give you the choice to make something of yourself, but I also wanted you to be aware of what this world entails. It's not just about the power. It's about understanding it and making a difference." Emily shook her head. "Understanding it? Do you think being a part of this world is my only option? You're offering me a chance to be complicit in something wrong, something corrupt." William's expression grew more intense, almost pleading. "You have the opportunity to reshape this world from within. I see potential in you that no one else does. You could be the one to change things, to make this power work for something good." Emily looked at the photograph again, the image of her mother and William haunting her thoughts. "I don't know what to believe anymore. You're telling me that my entire life has been a setup for this moment. How can I trust anything you say now?" William's shoulders slumped. "I can't undo the past, Emily. I can only offer you a choice now. You can walk away and live a life free of these shadows but without the influence or resources to make significant changes. Or you can stay, understand the complexities of power, and potentially steer it towards something better." The room seemed to spin around Emily as she struggled to process everything. "And if I choose to walk away?" William's gaze was somber. "If you choose to walk away, I will respect that. I will ensure you're safe and provide you with resources to start anew. But you'll have to do it alone, without the support or protection of this world." Emily felt a deep sense of conflict. The chance to start anew, free of corruption, was tempting, but so was the possibility of using the power she had been offered to bring about real change. Yet, the cost of compromising her principles was too great to ignore. "I need time to think," she said finally, her voice strained. "This is too much for me to decide on the spot." William nodded, his face a mask of regret and acceptance. "Take all the time you need. But remember, every choice has consequences, and the path you choose will shape the rest of your life." As William left the room, Emily felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. She was torn between two worlds, one of moral certainty but limited influence, and another of power and potential but at the cost of her integrity. The days that followed were filled with sleepless nights and restless days. Emily's conversations with Mark, combined with her reflections, became crucial in helping her grapple with the gravity of her decision. She knew that whatever choice she made would define not only her future but also the legacy she would leave behind. One evening, Emily found herself sitting alone in the park where she had encountered Mark. The serene environment contrasted sharply with the storm brewing inside her. She looked at the stars, seeking guidance from the universe, and pondered the path that lay before her. William nodded, a flicker of hope crossing his face. "Of course, let's talk." Emily took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I've spent the past few days grappling with everything I've learned. My mother's letter helped me understand her perspective and gave me clarity on what I need to do." William's expression grew tense as he listened. "What did the letter say?" Emily looked him directly in the eye. "It said that the most important thing is not where we come from, but who we choose to be. My mother raised me with values and love, away from the world you represent. And she trusted me to make the right decisions, even if they're difficult." William's face fell, his eyes filled with a mix of sadness and resignation. "So, what are you saying, Emily?" "I'm saying that I can't be part of this world," Emily said, her voice resolute. "I can't align myself with a system built on corruption and deceit, no matter how tempting the power might be. I need to stay true to the values my mother instilled in me." William sighed deeply, looking away. "I understand. I knew this was a possibility." Emily continued, "I'm resigning from Grant Enterprises. I can't work for a company that embodies everything I've come to reject. And I hope you'll consider using your influence for something positive instead of perpetuating the corruption." William looked at her with a mix of respect and regret. "I appreciate your honesty, Emily. You have a strong moral compass. I wish you the best in whatever you choose to do next." Emily nodded. "Thank you. I hope you find a way to make amends for the mistakes you've made, even if it's not with me." She turned to leave, but William's voice stopped her. "Emily, before you go, I want you to know that despite everything, I am proud of you. Your strength and integrity are qualities I've always admired." Emily glanced back at him, feeling a complex mix of emotions. "Thank you, Mr. Grant. That means a lot to me." As she walked out of the office for the last time, Emily felt a heavy weight lift off her shoulders. The path ahead was uncertain, but she knew she was choosing the one that aligned with her principles. She was ready to start anew, to rebuild her life on her terms, free from the shadows of her past. The city seemed different as she stepped outside, the sun shining brightly against the backdrop of the skyscrapers. Emily took a deep breath, feeling a sense of liberation and purpose. She was determined to honor her mother's memory and forge a future where she could truly make a difference, guided by the values she held dear. The transformation of Grant Enterprises was a monumental task, requiring not only legal and operational changes, but also a significant cultural shift within the company. Emily and William faced fierce resistance from those who had thrived in the old, corrupt system. It was a relentless battle, but they pressed on, driven by their commitment to reform. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 4 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. As the months passed, they began to see glimmers of change. The company's new direction was met with cautious optimism from the public and media. Employees who had stayed loyal to the company's original mission were re-energized by the new vision, and those who had been skeptical began to see the potential for genuine impact. Emily worked tirelessly alongside William, navigating the treacherous waters of corporate restructuring and legal compliance. She found herself growing into a leadership role she had never anticipated, driven by a sense of purpose and a commitment to her mother's legacy. Despite the challenges, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction in knowing that she was making a difference. One particularly challenging day, as they were finalizing a new ethical framework for the company, William approached Emily with a look of profound gratitude. "I know I can't undo the past," he said, "but I want you to know how much I appreciate what you've done. You've shown me what it means to lead with integrity." Emily smiled, though she was exhausted. "I couldn't have done it without you. We've made mistakes, but we're working to correct them. That's what matters." Their efforts began to bear fruit. Grant Enterprises slowly regained public trust, and the company's new focus on ethical practices and social responsibility started to yield positive results. They launched several initiatives aimed at community development and environmental sustainability, which garnered praise from various quarters. As the company moved forward, Emily found herself reflecting on her journey. She had come from a place of confusion and conflict to one of clarity and purpose. The revelations about her past and her father's role had been painful, but they had also provided her with the strength to make meaningful changes. In a private moment, Emily looked out over the city from her office window, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. The skyline, once a symbol of corporate greed and corruption, now represented a new beginning. She had chosen a path of integrity and had helped steer her father's empire toward a more positive future. William joined her, standing beside her in silent reflection. "Do you think we've done enough?" he asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. Emily looked at him, her expression thoughtful. "We've done what we could. We've started a journey, and while we can't change the past, we've made strides toward a better future. The real test will be whether we can sustain these changes and continue to act with integrity moving forward." William nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. "You're right. The journey is far from over, but I'm grateful to have you by my side." As the sun set over the city, casting a warm glow across the skyline, Emily and William stood together, looking out at the horizon. They knew the road ahead would be challenging, but they were prepared to face it with the same determination and commitment that had guided them through their transformation. And as they moved forward, they did so with the knowledge that they were working towards something truly meaningful, a legacy of integrity and positive change. Detective Martinez's voice was calm but serious. "We've received reports of Daniel being involved in an incident that could potentially be linked to a larger investigation. We need you to come in so we can discuss what we've found. It's important." Emily felt a rush of anxiety mixed with confusion. Her past with Daniel was complicated and painful, but she couldn't ignore the call for her involvement. "I'll be there as soon as I can," she said, trying to steady her voice. Hanging up the phone, Emily took a deep breath. Her mind raced through memories of Daniel, moments of happiness overshadowed by a whirlwind of conflicts. She had hoped to never see him again, but now she had no choice but to confront her past. As she drove to the police station, Emily's thoughts were a mix of dread and determination. She had built a new life from the ashes of her old one, and she wasn't going to let the past derail her progress. Arriving at the station, she was greeted by Detective Martinez, who led her to a small, dimly lit room. Daniel was already there, sitting at a table with his hands clasped together. His face showed signs of weariness and stress. When he saw Emily, a flicker of recognition and perhaps regret crossed his face. "Emily," he said softly, standing up. His voice was rough, as if he hadn't used it much recently. "Daniel," Emily responded, her tone neutral but firm. She took a seat across from him, her eyes searching his face for answers. Detective Martinez sat down as well, placing a file on the table. "We've been investigating a series of financial crimes linked to a network of illegal activities. Your ex-husband's name came up during our inquiry. We need to understand his involvement and whether it has any connection to Grant Enterprises. Emily's heart pounded. What exactly are you accusing him of? The crimes involve money laundering and fraud, Martinez explained. Daniel was found in possession of documents that link him to these activities. We're trying to determine if he was involved knowingly or if he was used by someone else. Emily's gaze shifted to Daniel, who looked back at her with a mix of fear and desperation. I didn't want any of this, he said, his voice trembling. I got involved with the wrong people. They promised me money and protection, but now I'm in over my head. Martinez looked at Emily. We believe Daniel might be a key witness or even a victim in this situation. Your insights could help us piece together the full picture. Emily's mind raced. She had worked hard to clean up her life and her company's reputation. The thought that her ex-husband might be involved in a crime linked to her past was unsettling. However, she realized that she had a choice. She could either let her past interfere with her present or use her position to help untangle the situation. Detective, Emily said, turning to Martinez, I'm willing to assist with the investigation in any way I can, but I need to ensure that my company and its operations are completely clear of any wrongdoing. Martinez nodded. We appreciate your cooperation, Emily. We'll need to review all relevant documents and statements to ensure that Grant Enterprises remains transparent. As the investigation progressed, Emily remained deeply involved, using her knowledge and resources to help uncover the truth. She worked closely with the police to ensure that any connection to Grant Enterprises was thoroughly examined and that her company's commitment to integrity was upheld. Throughout the process, Emily found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this point. Her past, though painful, had shaped her into the strong and principled leader she is today. Confronting Daniel and the shadowy elements of her past was a necessary step in ensuring that her future remained true to her values. In the end, the investigation revealed that Daniel had indeed been manipulated by more significant players in the criminal network. He agreed to cooperate with authorities in exchange for leniency, and Emily's efforts helped to clear Grant Enterprises of any wrongdoing. As the dust settled, Emily felt a sense of closure. Her past was no longer a threat to her future, and she had reinforced her commitment to honesty and transparency. With her company and personal life on solid ground, she continued to focus on her mission of using her influence for positive change. As she looked out over the city from her office window once more, Emily knew that no matter what challenges came her way, she would face them with the same resilience and integrity that had guided her through the darkest moments of her journey. William took a deep breath, considering Emily's words. The room was filled with a tense silence as the gravity of her decision settled over the team. All right, he said finally. We'll do it. We'll be transparent and face whatever comes our way. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Emily, with William's support, orchestrated a series of public statements and press conferences. They revealed the full extent of Grant Enterprises' past mistakes, along with the steps they had taken to rectify them. The revelations were met with a mix of shock and admiration from the public and media. Emily made sure to highlight the company's commitment to ethical practices, emphasizing the reforms that had been implemented and the genuine efforts made to right past wrongs. She also addressed her personal history with Daniel, clarifying the context of their relationship and her subsequent efforts to distance herself from his influence. Despite the initial backlash, the honesty and bravery shown by Emily and William began to shift public perception. Many people respected their commitment to transparency and their willingness to confront difficult truths. The company faced significant scrutiny, but Emily's clear vision and resolute leadership helped navigate the storm. The investigation into Daniel Roberts continued, with Emily providing crucial information to the authorities. She testified about her past with Daniel, detailing how his extortion attempts were unrelated to her work at Grant Enterprises and how she had worked diligently to ensure that the company was now on the path of integrity. Amid the turmoil, Emily received messages of support from employees and business leaders alike. Her courage in confronting her past and her steadfast dedication to ethical practices were seen as a beacon of hope for others dealing with their challenges. The legal proceedings against Daniel were lengthy and complex. He was eventually convicted of fraud and extortion, with his sentence reflecting the severity of his crimes. Emily felt a sense of closure, knowing that justice had been served and that her past no longer held the power to undermine her present. As Grant Enterprises continued to rebuild its reputation, the company's new initiatives began to gain momentum. The scholarship program and clean energy projects thrived, and the organization became known not just for its financial success, but for its positive impact on society. Months later, Emily stood in front of a crowd at a charity event organized by the company. She looked out over the audience, seeing the faces of young people who had benefited from the scholarships and community members who had been touched by the company's projects. The event was a testament to the change that had been achieved and a reminder of why she had fought so hard to make things right. William stood beside her, a proud smile on his face. They had faced numerous challenges and navigated through a sea of adversity, but together they had emerged stronger. Emily knew that their journey was far from over, but she felt confident in the path they had chosen. As the evening came to a close, Emily took a moment to reflect on how far she had come. From the waitress who dreamed of a better future to the leader of a company dedicated to making a difference. Her journey had been marked by struggles and triumphs, but through it all, she had remained true to her values. With a deep sense of fulfillment, Emily looked forward to the future. She was ready to embrace new challenges and continue using her platform for positive change. The lessons learned from the past had only strengthened her resolve, and she was determined to make every day count in her quest to create a better world for everyone. Emily and William's journey from scandal to redemption was nothing short of remarkable. The months following their press conference were filled with intense work, but the results were profoundly rewarding. Grant Enterprises became a symbol of change and resilience, transforming from a company tainted by its past to one recognized for its commitment to ethical practices and positive social impact. Under Emily's leadership, the company's new initiatives flourished. The scholarship program expanded, allowing more young people to pursue their dreams. Sustainable development projects gained momentum, and communities across the country began to see the tangible benefits of Grant Enterprises' commitment to environmental and social responsibility. Employees, once skeptical, became proud advocates for the company's new direction, and the public's perception slowly shifted from one of skepticism to one of admiration. The company's transformation was not without its difficulties. There were moments of resistance, both from within and outside the organization. The road to rebuilding trust was long and filled with obstacles. But Emily's unwavering dedication to transparency and integrity, combined with William's support and the collective efforts of their team, ensured that each challenge was met with resilience. As the company continued to grow and evolve, Emily found herself increasingly involved in industry-wide discussions about corporate ethics and responsibility. Her story, once a personal battle, became a powerful example of how businesses could be agents of positive change. She was invited to speak at conferences, contribute to panels, and share her experiences with others facing similar challenges. William, too, embraced his new role with passion. He dedicated himself to promoting corporate transparency and fighting corruption on a broader scale. His network of connections, once used to further his ambitions, was now leveraged to support initiatives that aligned with the values he and Emily had championed. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 5 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Together, they worked to ensure that the lessons learned from their past would shape a better future. The company's success stories, from the scholarship recipients to the community leaders, were a testament to the impact of their efforts. Each story of individual achievement and community improvement reinforced their belief in the power of transformation and the importance of maintaining unwavering ethical standards. Emily's personal life also began to reflect the changes she had made professionally. Her relationships deepened, and she found a new sense of fulfillment in her connections. The scars of her past healed over time, replaced by a sense of pride and accomplishment. As the sun set on yet another successful year for Grant Enterprises, Emily stood by the window of her office, much like she had on that pivotal day. The city below was alive with energy and possibility, and the horizon seemed to stretch endlessly before her. The challenges they had faced had forged a path toward a brighter future, and Emily was eager to continue the journey. With William by her side and the support of a dedicated team, Emily was ready to embrace the future with optimism and resolve. The legacy of Grant Enterprises would be one of redemption and hope, and she was determined to ensure that it would be a legacy built on integrity, compassion, and a commitment to making a difference in the world. Emily's words resonated deeply with the reporter and the audience. The question had touched on a core issue, the skepticism that often surrounds corporate integrity. Emily's response, grounded in her journey and the mission of Grant Enterprises, offered a powerful message of hope and possibility. As the event concluded, the positive buzz around the project was palpable. Emily and William spent the rest of the day engaging with attendees and discussing the project's implications and plans. The energy in the room was a testament to the transformative power of their vision. Back in her office that evening, Emily reflected on the day's success. The launch of the global initiative was a significant milestone, but it was also a reminder of the ongoing work needed to make a lasting impact. Her thoughts were interrupted by a text message from one of the scholarship recipients whose life had been changed by the company's programs. The message was filled with gratitude and excitement about the new initiative, a reminder of the tangible difference their efforts were making. William joined her later, his face still glowing with pride. "Today was incredible," he said, taking a seat across from Emily. "I never thought I'd see a day where our company stands as a beacon of hope and change. It's a testament to everything you've worked for." Emily smiled, feeling the weight of their shared accomplishment. "It's not just about what we've achieved, but about the doors we've opened for others. We're creating opportunities, and that's what matters most." William nodded in agreement. "We've come a long way, and while there will always be challenges, I believe we're on the right path. It's about keeping our focus on the greater good and continuing to push for progress." The evening passed in a mix of celebration and contemplation. Emily knew that the launch was just the beginning of a much larger journey. The global initiative was ambitious, and its success depended on continued dedication and collaboration with international partners, local communities, and stakeholders. As she prepared to leave for the night, Emily glanced at the framed photo on her desk, a picture of her and William from their early days together. It symbolized the evolution of their relationship and the progress of Grant Enterprises. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that their hard work had created a legacy of positive change. Driving home, Emily was struck by the thought that while the past had shaped her, it was the future that would define her legacy. The challenges they had overcome were significant, but the real measure of their success would be in how they continued to influence the world positively. Settling into her apartment, Emily took a moment to savor the day's achievements. The road ahead was filled with opportunities and responsibilities. But with a clear vision, unwavering principles, and the support of those who shared her values, she felt ready to face whatever came next. As she prepared for bed, Emily looked out at the city lights, reflecting on the journey from her modest beginnings to the heights of leadership. She was proud of how far she had come and hopeful for the future. With determination and a commitment to making a difference, she was ready to lead Grant Enterprises into its next chapter, continuing to strive for excellence and impact in a world that was, more than ever, in need of positive change. Emily's heart swelled with pride and appreciation as she read William's message. His support had always been a cornerstone of her journey, and now, even from a distance, his encouragement was a reminder of how far they had come together. In the weeks that followed, Emily found herself juggling a whirlwind of new initiatives and global responsibilities. Grant Enterprises had become a beacon of corporate responsibility, but sustaining that reputation required constant innovation and vigilance. The company's new mentoring program for other businesses had become a hallmark of their transformation, offering workshops and one-on-one guidance to firms looking to integrate ethical practices into their operations. The mentoring program quickly gained traction, attracting attention from some of the world's largest corporations. These companies, once skeptical of Grant Enterprises' sincerity, now sought to learn from their experience. Emily traveled frequently, from Silicon Valley to Shanghai, addressing executives and sharing the story of their transformation. Her speeches were filled with anecdotes of challenges and triumphs, emphasizing that true change required not just policy adjustments but a deep cultural shift within organizations. During one of her visits to Europe, Emily was invited to speak at an international conference on corporate ethics. The venue was grand, with leaders from various sectors eager to hear about Grant Enterprises' journey. Emily took the stage with confidence, her presentation outlining the company's evolution from a symbol of corruption to a paragon of integrity. She highlighted specific projects, such as their clean energy initiatives and educational programs, showing tangible results and sharing testimonials from the communities they had helped. The reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Emily received numerous requests for consultations and partnerships, signaling a growing movement towards ethical business practices. However, with success came new challenges. Some competitors, threatened by Grant Enterprises' growing influence, resorted to underhanded tactics to discredit them. Rumors and false accusations began circulating, questioning the authenticity of their transformation. Emily found herself once again in the eye of the media hurricane. But this time, instead of hiding or panicking, she faced the accusations head-on. She organized a series of open forums, inviting critics and skeptics to see firsthand the work they were doing. These forums were transparent and honest, providing a platform for dialogue and demonstration of their commitment to change. In one particularly tense forum, Emily encountered a former employee who had been dismissed during the company's ethical overhaul years ago. The man was visibly bitter, and his skepticism was palpable. "How can we trust that you've changed?" he challenged. "Isn't all of this just an elaborate public relations strategy?" Emily looked him directly in the eyes. "I understand your skepticism. I doubted many times on this path myself. But I invite you to look beyond the words and observe our actions. Visit the communities we've impacted and talk to the young people who have received our scholarships. Change is a process, not an event. We are committed to continuing to improve every day." Her honesty and vulnerability struck a chord with many. Little by little, even the harshest critics began to recognize the authenticity of Grant Enterprises' transformation. As the global clean energy and education project began to bear fruit, Emily found herself traveling the world, visiting the benefited communities. In a small village in Africa, Emily witnessed firsthand the impact of their solar panel installations. Children were studying under bright lights that had previously been absent in their homes, and local entrepreneurs were thriving thanks to microcredits from the company. One evening, sitting by a campfire with the village leaders, Emily was asked by an elder, "Why do you do all this? You could be living a life of luxury without worries." Emily gazed up at the starlit sky, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "Because I believe we all have a responsibility to leave this world a little better than we found it. And because I've learned that true wealth isn't in what we accumulate, but in the positive impact we have on the lives of others." Back in the city, Emily faced a new challenge. William, now in his 60s, had decided to retire completely from the company. "It's your time, Emily," he told her one afternoon in his office. "You've proven to be not only a capable leader but a visionary. Grant Enterprises is yours to take to the next level." Emily felt a mixture of excitement and nostalgia. "Are you sure? There's still so much I can learn from you." William smiled, his eyes shining with paternal pride. "You've taught me more in these years than I've taught you. It's time for me to take a step back and watch you shine." If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 6 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. The transition was smooth, a testament to the respect and trust Emily had earned at all levels of the company. On her first day as the sole CEO of Grant Enterprises, Emily gathered all the staff. The room was filled with a sense of anticipation and hope. "We've come a long way together," Emily began, her voice steady and filled with conviction. "We've faced scandals, overcome obstacles, and redefined what it means to be a successful company. But our journey is far from over. Today, I ask you to dream even bigger. How can we take our impact to the next level? How can we inspire more companies to join our mission?" Ideas flowed like a torrent. Employees proposed mentoring programs for other companies that wanted to follow their example, collaborative projects with governments to implement large-scale sustainable development policies, and innovative approaches to enhance community engagement. Emily listened intently, her heart swelling with gratitude and determination. The brainstorming sessions were invigorating. Emily felt a renewed sense of purpose as she saw the enthusiasm and commitment of her team. They were not just colleagues. They were partners in a mission to create lasting change. As the months passed, Grant Enterprises expanded its impact even further. The business mentoring program became a model for corporate ethics, and their projects in sustainable development reached new heights. The company's reputation for integrity and social responsibility grew stronger, and Emily's leadership continued to inspire others. One night, back in her apartment, Emily paused in front of a framed photograph on her desk. It depicted a young waitress with a shy smile, representing a time when her journey was just beginning. She gently touched the glass, reflecting on how far she had come. Her phone vibrated with a notification. It was a message from William. "Just saw the news. Your new business mentoring program is causing a sensation. I'm proud of you, daughter. Keep changing the world." Emily smiled, her eyes moist with emotion. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but it had also been immensely rewarding. She was determined to continue leading Grant Enterprises with the same integrity and passion that had guided her from the beginning. The world was evolving, and with it, the opportunities to make a difference. Emily knew that their work was far from finished. Each new project, each new initiative was a step towards a brighter future. With a clear vision, strong values, and a dedicated team, she was ready to face whatever came next. As she looked out over the city skyline, the sun setting in a blaze of gold and pink, Emily felt a profound connection to her journey and the future that lay ahead. The impact they had made was significant, but the potential for what they could achieve together was even greater. Emily was ready to lead Grant Enterprises into its next chapter, continuing to build on their legacy of transformation, hope, and enduring positive change. Emily smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest as she gazed out at the sprawling city below. The lights twinkled like earthly stars, each one representing a life, a story, and an opportunity to make a difference. "The journey continues," she murmured to herself, a mantra of resolve and hope. With a deep breath, she prepared for another day of challenges and opportunities, driven by the constant pursuit of making the world a better place. As dawn's first light began to break over the horizon, Emily felt a profound sense of peace and purpose. Her life had taken unexpected turns and faced unimaginable challenges, but every step had led her to this moment. Grant Enterprises was no longer just a company. It had become a movement, a beacon of hope in a business world often criticized for its lack of ethics. Emily was at the forefront of that change, leading with actions rather than words. The legacy she was building was not merely about financial success, but about transforming lives and setting a new standard for corporate responsibility. The company's Global Clean Energy Initiative and educational programs were just the beginning. Emily envisioned a world where businesses operated with integrity and contributed positively to society. Each day presented new challenges, but Emily faced them with a blend of optimism and realism. She knew that change required perseverance and continuous effort. The open forums she organized not only addressed skepticism but also fostered transparency and trust. The mentoring program for other businesses had become a platform for sharing knowledge and inspiring others to follow suit. As Emily walked through the bustling office, she was greeted with smiles and nods of acknowledgement from her team. The energy was palpable, a testament to the collective dedication to their mission. Every corner of the office buzzed with activity, from the strategic planning meetings to the community outreach programs. Emily knew that the strength of Grant Enterprises lay in its people, their passion, creativity, and commitment to making a difference. One of the highlights of her recent efforts was the expansion of the company's initiatives into new regions. Emily had traveled extensively, meeting with community leaders and local stakeholders to tailor the projects to their specific needs. In South America, they had launched a new education program focused on digital literacy, while in Asia, they were working on sustainable farming techniques that empowered local farmers. Each project was a piece of a larger puzzle, contributing to a global vision of a more equitable and sustainable world. Emily found immense satisfaction in seeing the tangible results of their efforts: schools being built, solar panels illuminating homes, and young entrepreneurs thriving thanks to the support provided by Grant Enterprises. In her moments of reflection, Emily often thought about the journey that had brought her here. From her humble beginnings as a waitress to the heights of corporate leadership, each experience has shaped her perspective and reinforced her commitment to ethical practices. The support and mentorship she received from William had been invaluable, and now, as she took on the role of CEO, she felt a deep sense of responsibility to honor that legacy. The future was indeed bright, filled with possibilities. Emily was eager to embrace the new opportunities that lay ahead, to continue driving innovation, and to foster a culture of excellence and integrity. She was dedicated to ensuring that Grant Enterprises remained a model of positive change, a testament to the power of vision and determination. As she looked out over the city, bathed in the soft glow of the morning sun, Emily felt ready to face whatever challenges the future held. The path ahead was clear: to keep striving for excellence, to uphold the values that had guided her thus far, and to lead Grant Enterprises with an unwavering commitment to its mission of making a meaningful impact on the world. With a final glance at the city below, Emily turned her attention to the day's tasks. Each decision, each action would be a step toward a better world. She was prepared to face the day, confident in the knowledge that with every challenge she overcame, she was contributing to a legacy of hope, integrity, and transformative change. And there you have it, Emily's remarkable journey from a waitress to the visionary CEO of Grant Enterprises, leading a global movement for change and integrity. Through every challenge and triumph, Emily's story demonstrates the power of resilience, ethical leadership, and the impact one person can make on the world. We hope you found inspiration in Emily's transformation and the profound lessons it offers. What did you learn from her story? How will you apply these insights to your own life or career? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you plan to put into practice. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.